Hi there, I'm Shweta Yadav, and today we're gonna learn what forward booking is in currency market specifically. So, what a forward contract is basically you get into a contract with a bank or a booking agency to decide that on a specific day in the future at a specific price you will buy currency from them. All right. So why do you do this is because let's say the exchange rate of USD in INR is 73 today. So that basically means that to buy 1 USD, you will have to pay 73 Indian rupees. All right. So what happens is that after, let's say, 1 month, you want to make a purchase in US dollars, and you think that the value of INR would appreciate to 75. So for every 1 US dollar that you want to buy, you will have to pay 75 INR. So that is why you go to the bank and say, all right, hey bank, let's get into a contract. What we will do is, after a month, I will buy US dollars from you at an exchange rate of, let's say, 74 rupees. Why 74? Because you think the value would appreciate to 75, and of course the bank will not exchange in the future at the present exchange rate, because even the bank thinks the value would depreciate. So what happens is, you thought that the value would depreciate to 75, but you have already got into a contract at 74. So after 1 month, you only have to pay 74 rupees for every dollar that you buy from the bank or the institution. And why did you get into this contract? Because if after 1 month directly you were to go and buy the dollars, you would have had to pay 75 for every dollar that you bought. And well, why would the bank agree to get into this when it can directly see, very clearly see that the profit is yours? Because the bank thinks that the price would not drop as low as 75 or even 74 for that matter, because it has got into a contract for 74. Bank thinks that maybe the rupee would only depreciate till 73.5. So from the bank's perspective, it is assuming that it would be making 50 paisa for every US dollar that you buy from it after a month, right? And that is why you get into this contract. To understand it better, let's get into a numerical and try to solve it. We will understand better how all the calculations are done and why forward booking is beneficial for you, right? I'll just open the numerical now. All right. So this is the question that we solved in class yesterday, and most of us did not understand it. So I'm taking the same question to get us to understand it better. Uh, Here, Amazon is importing goods worth $80 million 6 months from now, and they need to make a payment 9 months from now. Why 9 months from now? Because it is 90 days that they're getting extra to make a payment. And if you're going to pay any time before the last date of payment, you are basically an idiot. Too stupid to do that. And to find out why do I call you an idiot and stupid if you do that, to watch the next video that I would be making explaining why you are stupid or dumb to do that. Right? Then I have taken out all the data and wrote it separately here so that we have easy access to it. 9 months time is explained already. Every other data is as it is given there. All right. So here we have two options. Option one is to buy today, and option two is to book a forward contract. All right. So we'll start with option one of buying today. So for buying today, what will be your first cost? Your first cost will be cost of buying, correct? Because you will be buying at a certain rate. Well, you can make it yellow, no colors. All right, and all the amount that we are going to put here are going to be in INR. So I'll just write INR at the top to make sure we remember it's INR. So what will be your cost of borrowing? Will it be the exchange rate into the amount? Well, no. Why? Because if the bank directly gives you at the exchange rate, what is the profit the bank is getting and doing that for you? Nothing, right? For everything the bank does, it would want something of for itself as well, some profit or some commission. So yeah, right. So what happens is that has the bank has a bid price and an ask price. At these prices, the bank can actually, at the ask price, what the bank does is it sells the US dollars to you, and at the bid price, it takes it from you. So today you are going to the bank and giving them $1 when the exchange rate is 73. The bank will buy it from you at 71 USD or 71 INR. But if it were to sell it to you, it will sell it to you at 75. And why have we taken 2 INR here? Because 2 is the maximum spread on both sides that we can have. You can also take 1.5 here or 1 or 0.5 or 0.25, 1.25, anything you want, but the maximum limit is 2 on each side, right? Okay, so what would be our cost of buying? Since the bank is giving us at the ask price, because it is selling it to us, right? US dollars, it would be ask price into the amount, right? We are essentially buying dollars by paying INR to the bank. But is this the only cost that you will incur? No, right? Because you cannot legally hold the currency with you. So what you would need to do here is you would need to pay a cost of carrying. What is the cost of carrying? Since you are not legally allowed to carry the currency with you, what you do is you exchange from the bank today and you keep it at a risk-free rate. So what happens here is you are basically keeping you converting you INR to USD today and holding it for 9 months. But since you cannot legally do it, you will have to invest it somewhere or keep it with the bank safe. But banks are not as safe, we know. So we will take it as a risk-free rate. All right. And what would be your cost of carry? It would be cost of buying into the risk-free rate. So what would be your total cost of buying today? It would be, yes, you got it right. It is basically the addition of both of these, right? I'll just highlight this part. It will come into use later on. All right. And now we go to booking a forward. What are the costs that you would incur for booking a forward? You would, yes, firstly, the cost of forward. And what would be the cost of forward? Cost of forward would be, yes, it won't be directly at the exchange rate because you're not buying it, you're getting into contract for the future, not at the present and the future. Both of you speculate that the currency is going to depreciate, and since it is 9 months, we will be using the 9-month data, where 6-month data becomes irrelevant because we are going to pay after 9 months, right? So yeah, essentially, and the bank is charging 15% commission per spread. So your spread here becomes 1.95. So essentially the rate would become 1.95 into the commission plus the rate. So the total would become around 2. Yes, their cost of forward will become the exchange rate plus the premium and commission into the total amount that you need in the future, which comes to around 6 billion INR. But is this the only cost you would be incurring? No. And why? Because the bank thinks that you may not exercise the contract and you might default on it. So what does the bank does is, just like when it gives us home loans and things that we will not be able to repay the home loan, what does it do is it keeps our loans as a mortgage, right? And let us take another example to understand it better. So when you go to buy a cake and at a bakery, and you don't need it immediately, but after 2 weeks or after one day, what do you essentially do is you pay an advance to the baker and tell them that I would need this much cake after this much time. Like let's say after 2 days, I would need a 1 kg cake. Let's say the price was 700 rupees. I'm just taking a random amount, 700 rupees, and you paid him an advance of 300 rupees, and you pay the rest when you go and buy the cake after 2 days. So the bank also does something similar, and it calls it as margin. So here you will have to pay a cost of margin as well. What would be the margin? Margin given here is already 15%, right? So what will be your margin here? Your margin will be 15% of your cost of forward, right? Yeah, which is $908 million. It is basically the amount you are paying ahead of time to the bank to exercise the contract. And the bank does this just to make sure that you do not default on it, and in case you default, it does not incur as much as the loss it would have otherwise, right? So yeah, so now this is the margin 908 million INR that the company has to pay to bank. But do you think any company would have that much amount in liquid with it, in cash? No, right? Because it would rather invest it somewhere and get at least 4.58% of interest on it, right? That is the risk period. That is the least it can get. So what does it usually do is it invests all its cash at a higher amount, and just by just taking out all this money where it is already earning good interest and putting it in a bank where it won't get any interest doesn't make sense, right? So it becomes a little smart. And what does it do? It borrows from the bank at the rate of 4.99% and deposits it with the bank at the rate of fixed deposit for 9 months, right? So what it is essentially doing is it is borrowing at this cost, then saving it at this cost for 9 months, and this should be a percentage. Confusing a little bit? Okay, we'll do it this way. So if I were to, if the company borrows 908 million from the bank at the loan rate of or lending rate of 4.99%, what is the amount? For a year, it becomes 45, right? And if it were to save this exact amount, deposit the same exact amount with the bank in an FD at 3.95%, what would be the return? It would be earning 35, right? This is the number for a year. So essentially, how much extra the company would have to pay to the bank? Around 9. But is that so? No. Why? Because the 9 is the amount for the whole year. And for 9 months it would be 7. So what would we do here? We multiply this rate with the margin. This is essentially the extra amount that the company has to pay. Alright, so what does the total cost become? Total cost becomes yes, the total cost becomes the cost of forward plus the extra amount that the company has to pay to the bank. Alright, so now if we compare this amount, the total cost for booking a forward, let me just highlight it in a different color, orange, and the total amount that the company has to pay to exchange the money into US dollar right now and hold it for 9 months, it would be 6,317,000,000 INR, and for booking a forward it would be 6,066,000,000 approximately. So of course we see that the cost of booking a forward is far less than to buying it today, converting it today, and keeping it for next 9 months. And hence you are saving you almost 300 million. Less than 300 million, but that is approximately how much you are saving here by booking a forward. You want to check the exact amount? It would be 250 million. All right, so this is why we book a forward instead of what? Yes, instead of exchanging it today and keeping it with us. If you understood it, do like the video, and if you do not, do feel free to ping me. I will be more than happy to explain you. Do leave the comments on which part did you not understand. I will explain it again. And if you did like it and you feel that your friends would benefit from it too, do share it with them as well. Also, don't forget to comment what other topics would you like to learn, which you typically find hard to understand. I would be more than happy to make a video for you on that as well. All right. Bye bye. Have a good day.